Good morning. It's Thursday, January 22nd, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 120. Me, I'm Chris, and this is just me, back from a day off. And it was wonderful. Sorry about Wednesday's episode, but you see what happened was Tuesday came along, and it was like a wrecking ball. It came in like a wrecking ball into my life because I had Tech Talk Today, Linux Unplugged, and then a super late Unfilter where it was crazy live State of the Union in real-time podcasting. Should get an award for that, but no. Instead I got a huge nap. So I took Wednesday off, and back today and yesterday, Microsoft jumped on the opportunity. They knew Chris was off the air. They said, you know what? Let's capitalize on this moment. We'll seize on this opportunity. You're with me so far, right? And they announced a ton of stuff. So to help us break it all down and see if it's gimmick or actually going to make users' lives better is our experts in our Mumble Room. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hello.
I'm appropriate greetings.
Greetings.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello, Eric. Hello. Doodly-doop, doodly-doop. All right, I'm sending you good karma right there. That's what that was. That wasn't a Wayback Machine. Don't get those confused. So let's start with, let's work this in reverse order. Let's start with the stuff that Microsoft talked about that I'm super crazy excited about, and then we'll work to the stuff that I've decided I'm not so crazy excited about anymore. I believe I have come to a stance and opinion on Windows 10. To be honest, I think Windows 10 potentially looks like maybe the best version of Windows Microsoft has ever made. If you consider the fact that it's finally bringing some features, like a package manager. Hello, wow. Of course, it's probably going to suck. Virtual desktops, gosh, I'm so glad they finally invented that, right? And then, of course, bringing back a lot of standard user features that are not like all modern UI. I mean, this is all looking really good for Windows 10, no doubt. However, Microsoft is playing an obvious game. So just to give you a background, obviously I live here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm about a 25, 35-minute drive away from Microsoft's headquarters. I've been down there many times. I've had family that work there, friends that work there, former co-hosts that have worked there. And I've interviewed for jobs there myself a couple of times. And the last job I interviewed there for was in their Linux division, where I was going to be doing benchmarks, comparing Samba to Windows, and they really liked the fact that I knew how to work on Windows servers and Linux servers, and I got this really interesting sense that there was a very competitive nature, that they were watching this Linux group, like they were creating true Linux enthusiasts, but they were watching them like sort of creating a zoo. And they were observing the zoo from the outside through the, reverse mirrors and watching what the animals in the zoo were doing. And there was, at the time, the group that I was going to be working in was 6 people. And that group of 6 people had 3 managers. And I remember going through the interview processes, got through all 3 of them, and I remember reflecting on my thoughts of, gosh, this almost feels like a caged animal experience kind of thing. And so when they offered me the job, I just couldn't take it. I'd reflected on all of this, and I thought about what the work was, and I thought about having 3 managers for 6 people, and I just no thank you. And so I followed Microsoft for a long time. This was this process was, it must have almost been 10 years ago, maybe more. I don't know now. But I mean, we've had early on in my family. We were participants in the early Microsoft betas. Even before Windows 3, we were participants in, we would get, my grandpa would drive down to like this seminar, and then they would hand out floppy disks of like the Windows, and then they would take them home, and we had computers where we would beta test Windows. And I've always used Windows, and I've never really been a big fan. And I've had experience to all versions pretty much. And I've watched the marketing around all of them. And it's an interesting cycle that happens. And you can just, if you go back in time, and this would be an interesting history experiment, but you can start to see, like early in the Vista product cycle, bad press begins to build, right? And then it just devastates the release. It haunts them the entire time. You can even see that Microsoft is aware. You can look at the launch parties that Microsoft has for their successful Windows versus non-successful. And you can see that even at that point when they launch, Microsoft is buying into the narrative. Like sometimes the launch party's in a tent, and then sometimes like it's this massive production. Think back to the Windows 7 launch. This was this huge event. I've played a clip of it here on the show once before, because Microsoft knew they'd really done something amazing. Fast forward to the Windows 8 launch, right? It's a pretty weak event. They were already buying into the narrative this is a bad release because the narrative was already building in the tech press really strong. Well, now here we are with Windows 10, and it feels a lot like Windows 7 did. The tech press is extremely excited. There's a bunch of really flashy features they're putting in there, like Cortana, that are really exciting, that they're writing a whole lot about, and it's starting to build and build and build, and it looks like they have quite a successful release. So today, we're going to break down some of those more gimmicky, buzzworthy features that's got the tech press all slobbering all over Microsoft, that has Microsoft feeling strong, and we're going to see if they actually will make a difference in users' life. I want to debate that with the Mumble Room. But first, let's start with something that, oh my gosh, it's probably hype, but I really would love to see this turn into a product. Microsoft has revealed something they're calling holographic. It's sort of an augmented reality reality user interface. It's not virtual reality. It's a pair of goggles that you put on that project into your eyes, and they can overlay objects in your real field of view. And because of the motion tracking in the glasses, when you move around, the objects will stay anchored to whatever they're supposed to be on. So, say you open up a computer, right? You could have an overlay of all the information about that computer. So you look at the video card, right? All the stats about the video card, when the warranty expires, whatever you would do. You're a plumber, you look at the plumbing, an overlay of the plumbing diagram comes up. You could see, obviously, there's tons of really cool uses for this. In the demo that Microsoft showed, they have like a Lego building experience. So it's a pair of software. It's called HoloLens. That's the software piece, and then it goes with a Holo Studio. They even showed a kind of a cool setup where they were using it to diagram something in. They were sort of using it to build something in virtual reality, although it looked real to the person, and then submit it directly to a 3D printer and create it. So let's talk about this, guys. But first, I want to play, because it looks like a pretty cool video, and I haven't watched it yet. But Microsoft has the HoloLens video. It says, "Transform your world with holograms." So let's take a look at this, and then this will give us a good idea.
Look around.
Okay.
Technology is all around us. We use it in every aspect of our lives. It enables us to do amazing things. But what if we could go further? What if we could go beyond the screen? Where your digital world is blended with your real world. Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How are things going your end?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Perfect.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn.
So put the new trap in the place of the old one.
Now what?
And tighten here and here.
New ways to collaborate and explore.
So, I'll pause right here. So they've actually been working with NASA to integrate this technology, so they could potentially sort of explore the surface of NASA using the data collected by the rovers compiled together in an environment using this headset. Another
Surface
thing
of Mars, you mean?
Yeah. What'd I say?
NASA.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So NASA is working with Microsoft. Like, this is actually a project that they're working on right now. So they're showing early demos of it. This is legitimate footage they're showing here in the video. The Minecraft thing. Let's rewind back to that for a second. Microsoft now owns Minecraft. Imagine Minecraft in your living room, like overlaid over your actual home.
Dude.
I really hope there won't be ad apps developed for this, because that will be so annoying. You just look at something and there's an ad.
Well, I don't know about that. They are going to use to create apps for this. Well, I guess they're calling it a Holo headset. That you use Universal Windows 10 app. So an app that's created for this would theoretically actually be able to work on the Windows Phone or on the Windows desktop too. And you also heard in there the mention of OneDrive, and you saw the Skype video. Right? You could actually imagine if Microsoft could pull all of this together. If they could pull all of this technology they now own together, because so they've bought some pretty impressive companies recently. Some of the key companies behind the Kinect technology, but also some other companies that Apple was also bidding for. They wanted to get them for the iPhone. They bought that company up. They've integrated them in here. There's a lot of sound technology. Microsoft has one of the most renowned research and development divisions ever. But the problem is, like, Microsoft has been in this position before where they've got all of the pieces and they couldn't make it work. Microsoft had a music store. Microsoft had Plays for sure. Microsoft had an ecosystem of devices, and Microsoft had the #1 desktop Windows XP with Media Center pre-installed, and they still couldn't manage to beat iTunes from that tiny little company, Apple. Before they even had the iPod, iTunes comes along. Windows barely responds with Windows Media Player in the Windows Store, and back then they did this partnership with MTV. It wasn't even Microsoft's own media store. I don't know if you remember this, but if you go way back, Microsoft, before they went all in on having an MP3 store, partnered up with MTV. They couldn't execute on this massive cross-platform collaboration that they had back then, and Apple was able to come in with iTunes and then the iPod and own that market up. Right out from underneath Microsoft.
Also, what we're seeing there is, I have a feeling CGI. It might probably be it might be a lot worse depending on conditions you're using them in.
Sure. All right. Well, let's watch it.
Definitely
Best case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. So let's keep watching though, because it's still pretty cool.
Explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see.
Wow.
This is Microsoft HoloLens.
And a virtual dog next to him, too, at the end there. I don't know if you caught that. Boy, the integration there with Minecraft, it seems to be what has me the most excited.
Yeah, me too.
So also, who else could pull this off but Microsoft? I mean, okay, so that's a pretty big pie in the sky stuff. Do you guys think this is going to happen?
No.
No.
I don't think...
Well, actually, I think it could. But, it'd be really cool to see something like this, like to be a heads-up display while you're driving. That would be amazing.
A lot of this feels like it's going to need some quite serious hardware to work, because what they're proposing is quite fancy, and if they don't live up to that fancy thing they're proposing, it's going to fail.
Look at this app interface. So this was theoretically the what I'm showing on screen. A gentleman standing there. He's got the gear on, the Holo gear. He brings up an app launcher menu. At the top is Cortana, and then you got Skype, Netflix. This UI is gorgeous. It's easy to interact with. And what's so striking about it is it shows you what I think greater vision Microsoft has here for something like this than Google Glass.
Can I say something that I've noticed with this picture? The big one in to the left looks like it's got Google's material design on it.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody steals design from everybody, so it's really...
Yeah, I mean, it looks more like Pinterest.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like Pinterest to me, too. Yeah, and that's, I think, what they're kind of implying is a Pinterest app without the Pinterest branding.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting, but it feels like it's going to be the same thing that they do every few years, where it's just like, what the future of technology could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Surface?
Right, this could have been their CES presentation that would have gone nowhere if they'd done this at CES.
That's why they didn't.
Like there's things in here that sound awesome. Like the whole modeling something and spray painting it. That sounds terrible. That's doing a bunch of motion effort that would take 10 times longer than just using a mouse. But the idea of the Minecraft thing, that actually might get me excited to play Minecraft.
I like the virtual dog idea. I might finally be able to own a cat without setting off my parents' allergies.
Well, or my kids, right? My kids have really want a pet, but my kid also has really bad allergies. That'd be kind of fun. I like the idea of, from a documentation standpoint of the studio, I'm sure there would be like a note-taking application where, somebody could put on the headset and all of my notes for the different gear, the different connections could all be there in real time. And the thing is that's what they're working on, is that level of sophistication. Additionally, think about just augmented capability. You're wearing this and you're working at your computer. It could be another layer that's connected to your computer, maybe over Bluetooth or whatever it would be on the same LAN. And you could have maybe your chats on your computer are displayed on the headset. It could be essentially another display while you're working at your machine.
Oh, Well, but second thing is, this is a headset. It's probably not going to look very nice when you're wearing it.
There are some
silly.
There are some pictures of it online. It's not as svelte. Here it is right here if you're watching the video version. It looks essentially a little bit like ski goggles, but it's Rev 1, honestly, and I almost like it because it's almost more purpose-driven. Like with Google Glass, it was trying to be like, wear it all the time, bro. No problem. But this is like, okay, no, I'm going to actually do something. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to interact. Also, I could see how this would work really well with console gaming or just gaming in general. Could be a really neat...
I think you'd be okay in public with it because it kind of looks like a pair of sunglasses. So you can like go outside and use it.
A pair of sunglasses go all the way around your head.
I mean, clearly this could be amazing for traveling too. Like again, because Google Glass, where it's sort of confined to a little square, a 640 or whatever it is by 3 is a really tiny square. This is overlaid. This is projected into your eyeball. I mean, it's bouncing around in your retina, but hey, hell, that's what light does, right? And it's overlaying. I mean, obviously, this could go nowhere, but I feel like this is a better way to go than the glass approach.
Yeah, it just feels like glass on steroids.
Yeah.
I see two little things, probably cameras or projectors.
Yes.
In the thing.
Yep.
I would like for it to be more, sleek and look better, but like the glass looks kind of good, but the where you look up in the tiny corner, that's terrible. This projection thing would be really interesting to play with.
And again, just to kind of underscore, so this is why it could be kind of a possibility because Microsoft has already got a prototype of the hardware. They showed it off on stage. Plus, the way you're going to make apps for it is these Windows 10, we're going to talk more about this in a second, these Windows 10 universal apps, so developers will be able to release them across a wide range of devices. The platform works in concert with the newly unveiled HoloLens headset that allows interaction between the physical and digital worlds. The outfit showed this all off with a live demo of an app dubbed Holo Studio, where an employee built a quadcopter on stage by pointing a finger and issuing voice commands like mirror, copy. It all seemed pretty natural, actually. This is coming from Engadget. Kipman likened to a print preview for 3D printing, and then pulled a 3D printer version of the UFO quadcopter seemingly out of his back pocket to show off it's more than just a concept. They've actually made it a reality in-house. So they've gone from design it in with the headset. Now you go into this menu, say, okay, I'm going to make a quadcopter. Give me my quadcopter parts. You select the quadcopter parts, you tweak them, right? And then you send a print, and it 3D prints it. Just kind of crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy. All right, let's talk about these universal apps in Windows 10, because that whole thing could go nowhere. Whereas Windows 10, we know we're going to see eventually. I would love to see the headset stuff. That just sounds... oh my gosh, I can't even imagine just like standing here doing this show and being able to have an overlay of certain information. Oh, just get all excited.
The headset, it would probably be proprietary, so what would happen then?
Yeah, we'll see. That's a really good question. I think Prime Sense was the company they were bidding over with Apple, and I think some of that technology is all locked up by them now. That's the big question. The one thing that gives me some hope is they were more open than I expected with the Kinect hardware, right? There's working setups with the Kinect on Linux and other systems right now. So there is
they made a really good SDK for that.
Yeah, there is a possibility, and this will be the proof in the pudding. Is this a new Microsoft under Satya Nadella? Is this a new cloud mobile first world where they open up some technologies like this and allow the open source world in? I mean, this is the company that just recently made a lot more efforts in open sourcing areas of .NET. This, I think, is a great indicator and a test, and we're going to have to wait and see. Because if Microsoft is able to pull all of this off, and that's a big if, I think one of the reasons they would be able to do that is because maybe tightly controlled ecosystems where only certain applications, only certain devices, only certain things work with it, kind of an Apple approach, where you lock it down real tight. That way you can guarantee that things within that narrow spectrum work really well. Maybe that's Rev 1, maybe Rev 2, they open it up, or maybe they go with an open approach at the beginning. We have a lot to see. It may also go nowhere. So, all right, WW, you chime in with thoughts on the App Store.
I'm getting a really bad vibe right now, and the whole thing is because, I remember when, Gabe Newell announced, hey, we're going Linux, and everybody, went, whoa, what? You're not going Windows or whatever? And, he's all, no, Microsoft's ecosystem is becoming closed, And the more I hear about universal apps, one store, I'm starting to picture like Blade Runner, where like you have Windows 10 instead, and you have this crappy Holo emitter, and it doesn't work because you need some DRM.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, it's actually coming true. Windows wants to lock you in, and you can't get out. And it's like, oh, we have universal apps. It runs anywhere.
Well, don't panic yet. We'll see. We'll see. Don't panic yet. I wouldn't consider the Microsoft store yet a universal success, and I would not consider it a lock-in on the Windows platform by any stretch yet. So don't get too worked up yet. We'll wait and see. All right, we got to move on.
Oh.
All right. Well, okay. Last thought.
Something.
Yeah.
What if the open sourcing of .NET was to allow this to work, allow some applications to work on any platform?
We'll see.
Loosely fitting in.
That's the idea, I suppose.
It's a good question.
It depends on what the hardware works with. You could still lock down the hardware, right? You could put DRM in the hardware. You could make the drivers very proprietary, very hard to reverse engineer, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all up in the air. Okay, so I just want to touch on the universal apps and the Windows 10 thing real quick, because I think this is kind of important. So The Verge and Engadget, I'm going to link to several different coverage. A lot of people got hands-on with Windows 10 yesterday, and man, are they excited. After The Verge wiped the slobber off their hands, I'm sorry, this was Engadget. No, The Verge is sticky over here. Let me get this. Oh, gosh. Oh, man, so much slobber. They said it's snappy and fast in a way that some doubters don't believe Windows can be, but more importantly, everything feels faster, because there's just fewer concepts to juggle in your head, like navigating around. Okay, that sounds like obvious marketing speak. Microsoft has essentially made the distinction between desktop apps and modern apps. You can switch between them seamlessly and manage them either snapped, half or full screen, or windowed. Basically, everything is just a window, and it's great. Oh, kind of like Windows 7. So The Verge went hands-on. We'll just play a little bit of The Verge video here, not a ton, because it's kind of long and rambling. You can watch the whole thing. But they show you some of the UI interaction. If you're watching the video version, it's pretty good to see that. So let me start this up for you. And I think probably The Verge had some of the best coverage video-wise over on their site, too. So the whole video itself is almost 4 minutes long, and you can catch it over there.
Recent build that Microsoft's going to throw out in a couple of weeks. So obviously we saw the start menu back in September, and there's a few additions and changes here. You've got like a expand start menu mode, which will literally bring it sort of full screen, and you can pop that back. Kind of helpful on a device that's got a mouse and keyboard. And again, you've got all of the normal controls that you get in Windows apps. Full screen will go to that sort of size, what you'd expect. But what Microsoft's really doing here is trying to blend this sort of form factor, so a 2-in-1 like a Surface Pro.
He's demoing on a Surface
3,
now.
And trying to make it a little bit less jarring when it's full screen, and the sort of the problems that were associated with Windows 8.
Still quite a bit of emphasis on full screen. I want to jump around a little bit because I want to demo something important here.
So you've got like a new full screen mode that essentially replaces the Charms menu. You get your notifications.
Yeah, there's the notifications bar. You see it's very touch-oriented, obviously.
It'll basically change the apps into full screen.
Lots of full screen.
As a tablet.
I'm so okay
goes
with
full
that.
screen, including like the traditional.
All right, he's almost getting to it here.
Desktop apps. And
oh, let it buffer. What I'm trying to get to is I want to get to the Cortana section because that's what I want to show you guys, and then I want to talk about that. Eric, so you're a big fan of full screen apps, huh?
I'm actually a fan of the touch apps, really.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've played a lot with Windows 8, and it's really nice. You know, you can go ahead and just take some of those full screen apps and actually move them to one side. Say you have your desktop on your left, that app on your right, and that app will actually adjust its experience to be smaller so that it's more out of your way. So it does have some potential there. It looks like they're taking the same potential with Windows 10 and just making it so that it can be a window as well.
Okay, I think I found the Cortana part, and this is something I want to talk to you guys about. So let's see if this is...
and we mail that over to here.
He's showing a task switcher and rearranging the apps right now.
Music app.
Right, so actually it was this shot.
And now if you get a chance to look at the start menu down below.
You go side by side, so you still have that kind of view, and you can resize the windows just as you would in Windows 8.
Yeah, I guess. I just prefer to arrange my windows. There's the Cortana. Look how big that Cortana menu is.
Cortana search down the bottom here.
Cortana search, not Bing search.
Type in weather, and you obviously launch the application. Also, Microsoft's done a lot of work on the desktop icon.
I guess that's all he's going to show. So Cortana is actually a built-in speech system. It's full. Like you can ask it, Cortana, send me an email. Cortana, what time is it? Cortana, set the weather, or what is the weather? You have full range and access to all the kind of stuff you get on your smartphone now in the desktop. In fact, Microsoft thinks it's such a major feature that they've given it a huge range of space in the start menu. If you're looking at the video right now, it's a big area down there, and you type in anything you want, or click the mic and talk. This, to me, sort of feels like a gimmicky sort of Clippy type feature that the tech press thought was amazing. If you go back to the launch before Office came out with Clippy, the tech press thought Clippy was going to be the greatest thing for that dumb end user. Because remember, the end user is really stupid, and they can't even use computers. They just want to talk to them because they're so dumb. That's the assumption being made there, I feel. And so they build this feature set around that. Now, if you think about this is the exact kind of feature that an enterprise is going to disable at a group policy level at every deployment. This is not a feature that Windows enterprise users want. Microsoft's bread and butter is the enterprise. They don't want that. They don't want microphones on their users. First of all, they don't even want microphones on their users' computers to begin with. Second of all, they don't want listening devices on all of their computers in their enterprise to begin with. And third of all, they don't want all their staff members talking to their computers all the time. And fourth of all, that takes up way too much space. And fifth of all, it takes up bandwidth and processing power. Like, enterprises don't want anything to do with Cortana on the desktop. End users are never going to use that feature.
It's also going to take up more time if it doesn't doesn't understand you perfectly the first time.
Like the speech recognition in Vista and 7.
I think this is a strategy tax. I think this is a strategy tax on the Windows desktop. And the strategy tax is they are in a fight against Google for search. And they can't get people to go to Bing.com because it sucks and they don't want to use it. But they might finally get you to use Cortana search, which is, of course, powered by Bing, because it's just right there in your start menu, and you just type and hit enter. Now, does everybody remember that when they first integrated Internet Explorer into the active desktop, and you actually could put a search in your start menu, and nobody used it? They've already tried this.
I hate that.
Yeah. Sorry, I killed my active desktop the moment that it got installed.
Right, and of course, processing's done in the cloud, which means everything's going to be sent off-site. Enterprises don't want that. I look at this kind of thing and I think this is Microsoft doing its best to play to the tech press. And when you see the tech press get all hot and bothered about this kind of stuff, remember that they're all going back to their MacBooks and writing these stories. They're not even Windows users.
I want to say something about Cortana. I've heard from other people that Cortana's actually recognizing most of their speech, unlike other services. Siri.
Yeah, no, Cortana's supposed to be pretty good stuff. I'm not saying it's not good stuff. I'm just saying it's not a feature that I think average users or average users won't really use it. So your people that buy computers at Best Buy and Costco and then take them home and use them for years and years, they're not going to want it. And then also the folks in enterprise, which is Microsoft's bread and butter, aren't going to want it. So it appeals to a very narrow spectrum of users.
Honestly, I would really like the voice. I would rather they focused on one of the two, either Go Touch or Go Voice or something in between, because maybe hand gestures in front of a camera would be better. But I honestly like voice over touch. I'd rather be doing work in an application and be able to say, Cortana, like, launch Steam or open up Firefox if I'm in email or if I'm in Excel or something else. I'd rather have that ability than have to touch the damn screen.
And you guys have seen the fun that, of course, the tech press are having. Cult of Mac puts it, check out the sea of MacBooks at Microsoft's Windows 10 event. So a few shots from the stage. Yeah. And this isn't the only picture I've seen. I've seen a couple of them. A few shots from the stage, and they all... While they're up there talking about Windows 10, look at all those MacBooks. Look at all those MacBooks. And that's not the only one. I've seen other shots where so that's not selective photography. In fact, that's the first time I've seen that particular picture. I don't know. I feel real bad for Microsoft because I feel like they're sort of being disingenuous with some of these pictures. With some of these features. But I think it's gonna result in good press. I think it's gonna result in a good release. And some of the stuff is good. I think it's going to be a good version of Windows. And HoloLens, stepping back a bit, HoloLens looks kind of compelling. If nothing else, I applaud Microsoft for setting the bar. Because they didn't just, they didn't just like make a video about it. Like they actually demoed it up on stage. Like they have actual hardware and like a path for developers to follow already. Like that's pretty damn impressive. And that's actually a level of execution for Microsoft that they're usually not quite at this stage when they announce a product like this. So if this is overall, like for them, pretty impressive. And Windows 10 looks like it's in pretty damn good shape already, and they're still working on it. So I think it's going to be a good year for Microsoft. 2015 is looking good. Although, it's funny though, because you really got to come back to that fundamental problem that at the end of the day, everybody's going back and they're jumping on MacBooks. That's what gets me so crazy about these guys praising Windows so much. As in they go back and they don't even like, they're not going home with builds. Like for that opinion, you got to go to people like Paul Thurrott. You know, you got to go with somebody who's actually using it on a daily basis. And then you get a much more balanced, reasoned approach to Windows 10. But instead, what you get from The Verge and Engadget is sort of like this whiz-bang. You know, Microsoft brings them out there, they wine and dine them, they make a great presentation, they show off crazy cool, like Star Trek-like computer features. They all go back to their MacBooks, they write these posts. I mean, I'm sorry I keep railing on this, but this honestly drives me crazy. Anyways.
I'm counting about 10 MacBooks in that picture, and for every MacBook, there is like maybe half or a quarter of a Surface.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple Surfaces. Yeah, it's Surfaces and MacBooks basically. And you got to wonder if like the guys using Surfaces are, well, I'll try out this Surface thing while I go to this Microsoft event.
Just pick up a demo outside.
Yeah, Microsoft's like, please, just take this when you go in. We'll see. It's pretty ambitious altogether. And of course, then you got Oculus out there doing their own thing, powered by Facebook. It's an interesting time we live in. That's for sure.
Like, I have no intention of ever using the Windows 10, but if the Holo thing comes out and actually is, a genuine product, I'd consider installing Windows 10 just to play with that thing.
Yeah. I guess you'd kind of have to.
I think it should be open sourced, honestly. Something like that where we can, because at its current development, it's kind of half-baked because you have to have those glasses. People would really like it more if it was like, oh, you have an emitter and you just look at the visual space where it's at and, you just move it or twist it or whatever. So, I mean, I think it'd be better open source and other people could work on it as well and just advance it further.
I'll say it right here now, right here and now. If Microsoft open sources that or makes it as open as possible, I'll go on record and say it truly does seem like a changed Microsoft. That I think to me this is a great test for this.
I feel like I'm gonna say the Minecraft thing again. I feel like I really hope Microsoft doesn't wreck Minecraft with the HoloLens.
I bet they would make a new version. They would have to. They'd make a separate thing.
Or a mod.
Rewrite the whole damn thing, probably.
Well, you look at it this way. The Android version kind of even operates completely different than the desktop version of Minecraft. So you got that, too. So you got to think, well, if they're going to do that for the HoloLens, I bet you they will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll put a cap on it there and see what else comes out from it. But an interesting day for Microsoft. And they picked a good day. They dominated that quite a bit of the headlines. So overall, pretty good execution on them. They didn't need no stinking CES. You know what we need, though, is your support. Patreon.com/Today. Go over there and help make the Jupiter Broadcasting Network run smooth like a nice operation that could maybe eventually hire some people, maybe get some contractors in here to fix up a few things and change a few things, and oh my gosh, maybe even add to editing one day. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And I'd love to be able to do that without having to bring on a whole bunch of more sponsors. Patreon.com/today is how you can help us get there. Invest in us. And we appreciate it. Patreon.com/today. And I think I mentioned it on Tuesday, but I wasn't here yesterday, so I'll just mention it one more time. There is a new video up, exclusive to our patrons, and it's a little quick behind-the-scenes update. I'll probably do another one pretty soon, and I'm going to have a special guest in town soon. Let's see, when is that? That is not this weekend, but next weekend, and I'm going to try to get him to record a few videos for the Patreons, too. So there's a good time to go sign up, get in there now, and then when I publish those, you'll have access to them. Patreon.com/today. Thanks to all 438 of you. Okay, so Eric, you weren't here on Tuesday, so you get to play the role of anybody who missed Tuesday's show. I am playing some of my favorite old computer commercials, and I might play a couple in the next week because they're really good. John Cleese, you know him, the comedian, was the spokesperson for Compaq way back in the 80s. I did his introduction video yesterday, or Tuesday. And today, I'm going to play one of from that series. I don't know if it's quite in the right order, but I love them all. And these are great old commercials from the good old days of the computer industry. Enjoy, everybody, and we'll see you back here for one more Tech Talk this week. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv, jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that converted to your local time zone. Big thanks to the Mumble Room. Fantastic turnout today. I really appreciate that, you guys. It's great, because I was a little worried after missing a day that we might stumble a bit. So I'd love to have you join me on Friday. Maybe we'll figure out something to review, because we did a review last Friday, and that was pretty fun. So we'll brainstorm after the show. But I digress. We have a video to get to. Thanks for being here. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Excuse me.
Oh, what?
Why so many computer add-ons?
I need to accomplish a lot, so I need a computer that will do a lot.
The new Compact Desk Pro has those add-ons built in.
I need lots of programs.
Desk Pro runs thousands of business programs.
I need speed.
Desk Pro's 2 to 3 times faster than yours.
I need storage.
Inside the Desk Pro, capacity equal to 30 diskettes.
I need a vacation.
The new Compact Desk Pro. It simply works better.
I need my desk back.